Hey everyone, it's Jen here. I've had a lot of clients ask me about spirituality and meditation during this self-isolation time and just asking themselves a lot of questions about it. What does it mean? Is there a wrong or right way of even processing or working within meditation? And so I decided to go to the source. And in my world, Renee has been one of my spiritual coaches now for years and has really made a profound difference in my life on a spiritual level. And I decided to reach out to her for her to give us some guidance. Sarah is not only a spiritual coach, she's a best-selling author, she's a minister, she is also a celebrity psychic medium. But even more so than that, she works with the military and the police on cases. She's the real deal. And I look at Sarah as, I call her Ms. Christmas. And what I mean by that is when I have an opportunity to take a course with her or I'm speaking with her, I get giddy with excitement because I know that it's going to be such a feel good and that I'm going to walk away with something that I didn't know before. Like she just has that profound presence around people. And so I'm excited to bring her to you to share her insights on spirituality and meditation. Stay tuned. So Sarah, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you.
Sarah, for everybody, as I shared in my own video testimonial, Sarah is one of my favorite people in life. Sarah, you have changed my life over the last several years with your mentorship as my spiritual coach, shall we say. And really, I have had such change in my life and awareness because of you. And I thank you for that.
Aw, thank
And I
you.
wanted you to be my very first interview with At Home with Jen because I couldn't think of a better way to start this series than to speak to you about things that are on the heart. And tell me of what you're seeing out there and what I'm seeing with my clients as putting my holistic hat on and even with my social media hat. Let's just put both on for a minute. I'll just put them both on.
Both
on. There's a quest right now for people figuring things out in their lives. And I've seen now people ask me specifically, like, I think right now I'm going to spend some of this time figuring out like, what is spirituality and how do I even navigate that space? And so my one question for you is what do you say to people? Like, what is your definition of spirituality? And if people are sitting at home with this extra time on their hands, like how do we direct them?
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. I love it. And
good.
I'm seeing too with my clients, I'm getting a lot of new clients, like first-time clients right now, which is interesting. So it's like, obviously, like you're saying, there's this thirst for a spiritual connection, out there. So, what I kind of believe spirituality to be is more of a spiritual connection than any action,
Yes.
and more feeling, like you feeling that connection with whether you call it God or the universe or goddess or, all of the above, but feeling that internal connection with the divine, with other people, which is really, that we're in an interesting space there as, we are distancing physically, but I'm not a huge fan of the social distancing because what I'm seeing is that this is actually unifying and bringing more connection.
Yeah, so I'm going to jump in for a minute that here in Ohio, where I am quarantined at the moment, that the Dr. Amy Acton here shared, let's change that word from social distancing to physical distancing. Because am I understanding correctly that we're seeing people unite?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I've been seeing. And that's kind of what spirit, has been sending through since this whole thing started, in readings and my own channeled writings and such, is that it's going to appear on the surface to be a separation, but in reality, it's unifying us because we've been in such a extreme pendulum, shift in the divisiveness, right? And now it's like really the opportunity for people to shift from that and come back together. And you're seeing it like in those videos of people singing in Italy, in my neighborhood in La Jolla, San Diego, we just did the other night. Everybody went out and banged on pots and pans and howled and cheered at 8 p.m. and it was so fun. Like all the kids on the block were like so excited. So I feel like it's like people who never talked are out there like howling and cheering together, or coming together on Zoom. So I think it's really, we're seeing that contradiction, but in a really positive way.
So for someone right now that wants to connect in some way, shape, or form to finding their spirituality, what would be like a baby step? Because that's a big question, that universal question, Sarah. What would you recommend that they do as just a starting point?
So, and I know we spoke about mindfulness, and when I was kind of journaling on that word and asking spirit what they wanted me to talk about today, it was like that mindfulness is essentially awareness. And it's being more present. And spirit was saying, so like, how can, like something that anyone can practice, whether they're working overtime right now or they're quarantined, not working at all, or working from home, whatever, wherever they are in that spectrum, is being aware and fully present in every moment, and then starting to expand. So, you start with the awareness of, okay, I'm in my home right now, I'm talking to Jen right now. And then you expand it to, like, I feel like my loved ones are around me right now. I feel like this situation is so beyond my understanding. There must be some divine intervention or role or something. And, so you start to expand just a little bit, just to feel that like maybe the divine, maybe God, maybe the universe is with me all the time. Maybe that's within me. Maybe my loved ones are here. And so you just work on opening up, just to feel that maybe there's more, right? Maybe there's something, and then to kind of implement that, if, real life tools, right? Like practicality,
yes.
Which, I'm big on.
Yes.
The first two things that I suggest to all of my clients are prayer and meditation. And essentially, when I talk about prayer, I mean, there's kind of two, sections, if you will, of prayer. There's like the formal prayers that we say in different, faiths and all of that. And then, what spirit says is even counts as prayer is just talking to them in your head, inviting them in to help, inviting them to help your loved ones. And then meditation, it's like, if you're just talking to them, it's a pretty one-sided conversation.
Right.
So a lot of people come to me and they're like, I talked to, my mom, who passed, or grandma, or God all the time. And I never get anything. And I'm like, oh, do you meditate? Like, do you actually get quiet enough to listen to their response? No. Like, oh, I have to do that. So, so we work on that. So meditation is really just allowing spirit to answer you.
Oh my goodness, I love that because again, just like the spirituality big question, I've had clients come to me recently and say, I had several clients come to me and say, this meditation thing, like I've read that I have to do it this way, and I've read I have to do it that way, and it's overwhelming to me, and I want to connect, but I'm feeling overwhelmed by like all the rights and the wrongs. And I've never been one to be able to practice in like lotus style sitting up. I've always learned to meditate on my back with my knees bent because I have a bad back. Like that's what works for me.
Yeah.
And I share that with my clients. But what I love is that you're approaching now in the meditational space, like what are simple tips that people can do so that they realize they do have the power within them. And you taught me, you were another key person who shared with me, if I can just interject one more, is that be careful who we listen to is what I also shared. That sometimes the shiny penny is a beautiful shiny penny, so to speak, right? Like it's lovely and it's beautiful. And maybe it's great to have that shine. I'll transfer it to like social media now, like to be colleagues or converse once in a while or say good morning. But then maybe it just stays there. Like relationships have dimension and follow the dimension, follow the intuition of who you feel you should pour yourself and trust into in terms of a teaching space. Am I right on that?
Yes, exactly. And thank you for mentioning that because I am big on that, as you know.
Yes.
Because we're the way of the world right now is everyone on social media claims to be an expert, right? So, and you could have an expert in, one style of meditation. Let's just say like Deepak and Oprah will lead 21-day mantra where they use Sanskrit mantras.
Yes.
That's great. I've done those meditations. I really like them. Some people who love that style might tell you, hey, this is the best way. And then, but like, maybe you're repeating the Sanskrit, like I really love Sanskrit, but then I know my clients hear it and it just doesn't resonate for whatever reason, so some people really like the breathing where they just count on their inhales and exhales. And that's a great method, and then there's we don't even have time to go through all the styles of meditation, but there's a million out there. But I think it's so wonderful to have the option to find the best thing for each of you, that I can find the best thing for me and you can have the best thing for you. And it doesn't have to be the same.
Well said.
But it's also like, I tell people to just, not beware, but just kind of have some caution up when someone is very like my way or the highway, because, just in my experience, that's not true. Really, like you can connect with God in any way that you want, whether it's through, religion or through a hike or, in meditation. But, and the other benefit of meditation, just really quick, add in this little tangent right now, when we're kind of locked down, so to speak, or I'm quarantining with my family too. So like, it's almost like a way to explore or a way to connect spiritually that feels really freeing. So you can feel really like I've been getting really antsy having to be inside so much because I'm a really outdoor oriented person, and so it's for me, it's like a break. Like I get to tune into my guides and my loved ones, and I get to feel a little less trapped or a little less restrained. And so it can be really like fun in that sense. Like when you meditate and you feel your grandmother or somebody, it's really fun. It's really like precious. So I tell people too, like, make it feel good. Don't do something that like is super rigid and makes it feel bad if that's not your thing. Like connect because they're always telling me, like, people take things way too seriously. So they're like,
Listen to the
stop.
spirits.
They're like, you all need to like have some more fun down there.
And that's why I love you, because you do keep this, you get deep, but you do it in such a light way. And in such a safe way. And I appreciate that. And I thank you for that, because you have this way of making everyone feel in a safe space, even when we're delving into deeper conversations or deeper methods of ways to connect. But you, just like now, you've shared some easy ways that people can just try, just be.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I tell people. I'm like, go try a mantra meditation, try the breathing one, and try a guided one. Now, I know, like, for me, when I was a teenager, I was diagnosed with ADHD, and I had this story in my head that, like, my brain just never stopped and I could never meditate, and so I had to start out with guided meditations just to have a visual. I'm also very visual. So if I can be visualizing something, it can really take me out of my own head. So
I love that, Sarah, because that's how I actually started too, was guided meditation.
yeah.
And I know that you have a special guided meditation that you've created. So can you share a little bit about that for us?
Yes. So, and I have a few on my website that are normally for sale, but I took the let go and restore one, and it's only 7 minutes. Which might sound long to some people, but I find that 7 minutes, 8 minutes is really good for beginners, because it stretches you past the 5-minute mark, but it's still under the 10-minute mark. So it's kind of more doable.
Smart.
And yeah, it's my free gift. So right now, like, when people opt in, for my energy updates, or, opt in, then I send out the email and they get it to download to their phone or whatever for free. It calls in, I take them through a visualization of working with the angels, even calling in their loved ones from the other side. So it just, like, feels really good. And it's a good way to clear out, any, like, stuck energy, whether it's your own or someone else's or from the collective right now, and, really restore and just replenish yourself on an energy level.
That's beautiful. And I can share that I get your newsletters and I take your courses, and this is not sponsored in any way, shape, or form. This is strictly love, because I love what you do. And even the weekly energy updates.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
I make sure that I screenshot the mantra, and I make sure that as soon as I receive it, I read it out loud. So at least there's one time I'm sure that I'm getting it out, and then I screenshot it and I have it for the week, just to kind of remind myself of where things are at. So thank you for that. Yeah. And that's free. Like, this is all about, this entire series is about serving. And
yes,
I encourage people to sign up for your newsletter, simply to get all these great free ways of being able to help them connect and understand in a better way. So where can people find you, Sarah?
So my website is sarahreneeinc.com. And then on social media, just under Sarah Renee, there's a fan page, or my personal page, but I'm on both, almost daily. So both of those places are good. And then, then from there you can find my Instagram and all that. But my website has all the Yelp review, it has all the good stuff, the store, the guided meditations, all the free, the free email opt-in. And, I'm all about, like, I really believe that the mantras, even just, receiving an energy update, reading mantras, doing the free meditations, like, even I will post on social media, channel posts, like, that is a huge way to get started in discovering, your personal spiritual relationships, from me and from all the other people that post spiritual updates, and to see what resonates with you before investing with somebody. Like, I'm really big on that. Like, try people out, see if their style, if their vibe, works for you. Because if I don't resonate with somebody, maybe somebody else will, and vice versa. And so, I'm
So
really,
I'm dare going to say, make sure it fits your style, Sarah.
yeah.
But bump.
Yeah, there you go.
Gotta fit your style, people. It has to fit. And it has to fit, it has to feel.
Exactly. It has to fit, it has to feel, it has to a lot of my clients are like, oh, like, I don't know, like that class or that, whatever, just, I just felt it. Like I read it a million times, but I just felt it. And I'm like, that's my intention for people, is just, whether it's free or paid or whatever it is, and anything else, that they feel something.
Yes.
And so I love the series that you're doing, because I feel like this is going to connect with people and help them feel something, while they're, quarantining or, wherever they're at right now.
Well, I so appreciate that. And I so appreciate you. And is there anything else you want to share that has come to you from Spirit, or anything else that you feel you want to leave us with in this interview today?
It's what they kind of wanted me to mention was, to take mindfulness into everything right now, or your awareness, and don't beat yourself up, or don't feel like your mindfulness or your productivity during this time has to look like somebody else's. Mm-hmm. Because there is a collective trauma right now. We've all been thrown out of our normal routines. We're having to adapt. That's a trauma in itself. And so there are going to be good days and harder days. Some people are going to be really happy and energized and motivated one day, and maybe exhausted, 2 days later. It's okay. They're like, just honor yourself. And, the big invite is to use this time, bake that thing that you used to bake, maybe with a grandparent or something, and ask them, like, hey, help me feel you today.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Help give me a sign, and if you're watching TV, cool, I'm not going to shame watching TV, but something that I do that my guides get on me about is, if I'm watching a show and I love it and I'm into it, that's great. If I'm binge watching and I'm just laying almost comatose on the couch, right? That's me trying to escape. That's when it crosses maybe the toxic levels. So that's where they're watch TV if you love it, if it's inspiring to you. If you find yourself using it to numb out, maybe don't shame yourself, maybe back off a little bit and just see what else you could do that maybe feels better.
Sarah, I love that, because like you mentioned, I'm a type A, and if you could see my desk right here now, I've gone back to school and I'm getting another certification, and I have 10,000 emails to delete, and I've got all these books I want to read, and blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. And then creating the series, which I'm loving and excited about. And then the other day I got up, there was no gas in the gas tank. It was just not there. And so, to your point about the watching and the binging, I said to my family, my mom and my daughter, today, I can't talk to anybody. And I literally had pizza for lunch and dinner, and binge watched all day the morning show on Apple TV.
Oh my gosh.
It's so good, by the way.
That looks so good. I really want to watch it.
Really good. But and then that was Saturday. Sunday, I was okay again. Yeah. But I love that, just paying attention to that trigger, right?
Mm-hmm. That's just great. It's just being aware. It's nothing is not spiritual. Yeah. Right? They're that's kind of a myth. It's there's not these this spiritual life and this unspiritual life, right? It's more of just who you're being, how you're being, just doing this, being generous, being of service is spiritual. That's a calling to share, with
Thank
everybody.
You. Thank you.
To you. Yeah, thank you. But you getting inspired to just create this, I would say is a spiritual divine calling, that's really just so needed right now. And people watching this are watching, and watching, filling yourself up with all the positive, videos and inspiring things, like that's spiritual. That's a way to connect. And, so it's like, let go, like find your own spirituality and your own way to connect with the divine. And that's where you're going to feel like the magic of it the most.
Oh, that's so beautifully said. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
So appreciate you on so many different levels. And I just wish that you stay healthy and safe. And I look forward to seeing you on the other side. But until then, this is a beautiful way for us to just continue. And as I've learned from you, and so it is.
And so it is.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.